Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge and Company. My friend Doug Muzzio is a professor of political science at Baruch College and the host of City Talk, the program that comes right after this one. These positions provide ample opportunities for him to emote on all things political. However, he's been on a year's sabbatical from both places, so we haven't heard what he's had to say about today's current events. But now I'm so pleased to say we will, because he's my guest today. Welcome.
Oh, my pleasure.
So much has happened in this last year.
Both the world has
changed.
It flipped. I mean, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders. Yeah. It's just incredible.
And what about Hillary? That's no
surprise.
Well, I
mean, there wasn't a surprise with Hillary, but...
Did you see the Saturday Night Live thing with... No, you didn't, when Larry, whatever his name is, was being...
Oh, Bernie. Yeah.
No, but the second time he and Hillary are sitting at the bar and she says, I have a secret to tell you.
No.
And she leans over and she says, I want to be president. So that accounts for why you're not surprised.
Yes.
All right. So it's also been personal. You've had a lot of
in February I had a stroke, and that sort of put me out of commission for a couple of months, and it was a real interesting phenomenon, and it's still going on. I'm about 95% there, but I can't do certain things. I can't type. I can't write my name. And, my short-term memory is gone. But it gets better all the time.
You found it all very interesting. I mean, that's how it sounds.
Yeah.
You're so detached from it, right?
Yes, it wasn't frightening or anything. I guess I was anxious and frightened more for the relatives' reaction, my wife's reaction to me, but not really afraid, but interested. It was very, very interesting. And then I went through 3 months of cognitive therapy, speech therapy, trying to, and that was fun in terms of trying to figure out how to fix problems. So all in all, it was a worthwhile experience.
That's so interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So this is good therapy.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, no.
So let's talk about this election.
Oh, God.
First of all, for me, and I've been around for a long time, and I haven't missed a vote forever since I was able to vote. I see you voted today in New Jersey.
Did.
I can't remember it being so chaotic nominating a candidate. Now, why is that?
I think the only election that's close that I can recall is '68, on the Democratic side, right, where you had McCarthy and then Kennedy, and then he was killed, and it was just a crazy election. But other than that, this is the first election where both parties have had really interesting candidates and an interesting dynamic. And it is going to be an absolutely critical election.
Do you think they're going to be, well, I know. All right, let's talk about Trump.
No. How can we not?
How did it, you're a pollster. I mean, you understand polls and everything. Are there that many people in this country that really believe in him?
Yes, there are.
And who are they?
They tend to be less educated, less socioeconomically secure, angry, and then they are less happy with the diversity that the country's going through. So there's a whole list of characteristics. Now, not all Trump voters are the same, but the general profile is that.
And so is that going to become, that's basically now, do you think it's going to hold up after this recent stuff with the judge?
Well, I mean, one of the interesting dynamics is the gutlessness of the Republican Party. I mean, Brian, McCain, I mean, here he is, and the guy attacked him personally. He's anathema to much of McCain's thinking, and he turns the political trick because he's running for the Senate.
He wants to get reelected, even though he's 80 years old.
The bottom line.
A distinguished career. It's a lack of courage, right?
Yeah, obviously.
But it's more than a lack of courage. It's because, in a way, politics has become a profession. you move up the ladder so we don't really get new people. I mean, I think that,
Well, I mean-
do you think that's part of the reason?
Well, I mean, yeah, but Trump is not part of the
No,
ladder.
that's right.
So, you know, the outsider can ride in and take over a party. But what you tend to have is tend to have a feeding tube, and this tube produces the same people.
Yeah, and a lack of courage. Is an
Total lack
election
of
at 80 years old when you have a lot of money, you've had a distinguished career, why don't you go down blazing?
Yeah, well, that would be my preference, but
Yeah.
that's obviously
We just
not
don't have
McCain.
that fight.
Yeah, and then, you know, Nikki Haley and the rest at Rubio, they find much of what Trump says to be anathema, and then they turn around and say, but I'm going to support him.
Do you think that's going to last for the next months?
Well, this judge thing is, it seems like a turning point, but, so many events have seemed like turning points that then haven't materialized that you don't know. But this is really, in a sense, beyond the pale, that Republicans are starting to talk about this in not positive ways. And it just reinforces that image. What Democrats have to do is they have to hold Republican candidates to Trump. They have to tie them together. They need to nationalize the election and tie people like Ayotte. They have to tie them bodily to Trump.
It's a very lucky thing for Hillary.
Oh, yeah, because she's...
It's amazing that you've got these two candidates, both with overwhelming disapproval ratings.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. Do you think the New Jersey election today will show a difference in the vote for Trump?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, since there's no opposition, he's going to win.
Is there anybody else on the ballot?
Yeah, I think Kasich and Cruz are on the ballot, but...
So the only measurement we'll be able to tell if the judge has affected his popularity would be by a diminished vote or...
Well, I don't think you can do that. I think that more likely it would be through polling.
And when would a poll come out about this?
I'm sure one's in the field right now or within the next day or so. So you should know in 3 or 4 days.
So what do you think is going to happen with the parties after this? I mean, the Democratic Party is interesting also because of Bernie Sanders' really substantial support.
And
the discontent, more or less, with the middle ground that the party has been.
And also he is apparently going to bring it to the convention, and he might blow it up. He could thwart Hillary's desire to be president. He could either not support her at all, run third party, or support her but not enthusiastically, and that could make the difference.
But even after, I mean, I'm assuming she's going to get elected. I don't think he's going to run against her. I think eventually he's going to be...
Well, his hope is that he's the head of a movement.
Yes, that's what I meant.
I mean...
So what's going to happen to the party after the election? What do you think?
I just don't know. I mean, you don't know because of the dynamic of the race. You don't know if Trump wins. I mean...
Yeah, we just don't know anything.
We don't know. The wise thing to do in this election is to assume the wildest, and it's got a possibility of coming true.
Yeah. I mean, everything has been so crazy up until now.
It's Wonderland. I feel like Alice.
The Libertarian candidate should be attractive to the Republican Party, shouldn't he?
Well, yeah, but the notion of a libertarian, it's a pure protest vote. So, those people who are energized Trump voters, they're not going to vote for...
No, but the anti-Trump people.
Well, we just talked about their lack of courage. How many of them are there? How widespread is that anti-feeling?
Well, we're going to see what happens, I guess, in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, I think Trump, and I've said it before, has made a fatal mistake insofar as that he's running a primary campaign in a general election season. So he keeps appealing to the base. The Judge situation is a perfect example. He gets criticized, and then he doubles down, and he doubles down, and he doubles down.
Right.
So it is the initial error, and then he keeps doubling down. It's part of his personality. The Democrats have to get him constantly irked, ticked off, and have him react.
Do you keep knocking the table when you have your own program?
Oh, geez, are you kidding?
All right. But he isn't a politician, so he doesn't really know. I mean, he's in this just for himself. I mean, he apparently doesn't understand really what it means.
I don't want to sound biased, but I mean, you know, he's an ignorant person. He doesn't know squat. He doesn't know foreign policy. He doesn't know domestic policy. And what he knows, he keeps flip-flopping. I mean, talking about flip-flops, I mean, the guy, you know, in the morning says one thing, in the afternoon says another thing, and then doubles down on the first. It's just...
But it's our fault because we're taking him seriously. And it comes back to the people who are supporting him.
Well, it's... And also it's the media.
The Republicans should never have taken him seriously.
Well, the
Yeah.
Republicans should have taken him very seriously,
right, yeah.
and you know, stopped them when they had a chance.
Yeah.
If there was a strategy to stop them.
Yeah. And the media coverage?
It's been so
crazy.
utterly Trump. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, the guy is a genius. He has dominated news cycle after news cycle after news cycle, and the media pick it up.
And even you can't pick up a newspaper without seeing how many times.
Right, and it doesn't. I'm not saying necessarily that it's pro-Trump. It's anti-Trump, or it's just
Trump.
It's ratings Trump. It's ratings Trump. He is great for the bottom line.
So you don't think this is? You don't seem to think this is going to go down to the state levels, that we're going to see a difference in the Congress?
Well, you very well might. I mean, if the Democrats are successful to tying each individual candidate to Trump, the Democrats conceivably could take over the Senate. The House is almost impossible to do in one cycle. So. But it's possible. I mean, it is amazing to me that they can still support him, given what they said previous, what they argued previously.
Yeah. If we were ever to change anything to do with the elections, whether it's campaign finance, you know, free time on television for candidates. A different form of primary. We can't do that until we change the Congress. So Bernie Sanders, though, has created this following of young people who potentially will be the next generation.
Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about, I think. I mean, I think that's what the basic difference is between his campaign and the Hillary campaign.
Yeah, but the election takes place now.
I understand
and
that.
It takes place in 6 months.
Right. But even if she's elected, if somehow these people will stay in the system,
well, that's what they have to do. They have to do it in terms of policy, active recruitment of the base.
Because the way we're nominating candidates is crazy.
It's just, I mean, no rational human being would devise a system like this. No rational organization would develop a system like this.
It all comes down to the states' rights, right?
Yeah, and then it's
and the concept
states' rights, and then it's caucuses and conventions and primaries and
open voting,
proportional representation and open primaries and closed primaries and mixed primaries. It's insane. It's insane. But that's the federal system.
Can it ever? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well,
so unless we win, unless we put the kind of people that we need to do that in the Congress, we're never going to see it.
And I wouldn't depend on that happening.
And I don't know what you can do in the courts with that kind of system. I
No,
that
I
seems
mean,
to be our only-
it's what they call a political question. It's, it's states' rights. It's in the
Do
Constitution.
you remember it always being as partisan as this,
No.
so that you can't even get a Supreme Court judge nomination?
No, it's...
But why don't they get blamed for it?
Because we are so used to it and becoming hardened to it that it's part of the accepted rules of the game now.
It's an outrage.
Yeah, well, it may be an outrage, but it's the reality. I mean, sitting on a Supreme Court nominee should be, anathema. But, it's part of a long-term polarization, and the Republican Party is hostage to the crazies.
So do you think the parties are going to change after this?
They very well could. I mean, if Trump has already dramatically changed the nature of the game. And if he wins, it's a whole new ballgame. So, we have to wait for the results, but he's changed the Republican Party as it is. I mean, now there's the Trump people, there are the traditional conservatives like Cruz, and they're the establishment like Ryan, and they're the weakest of them. Where does it go? Where does it go? So, and does it fracture? I don't know.
Yeah, and the Democrats, the discontent on the Sanders side with the National Committee. I mean,
it's
just
you argue argue the facts, and you don't win the facts. You argue the law, and then you argue the morality of the people making decisions. Yes, it's undemocratic, but Bernie knew the rules, and he lost. And he not only lost, counting in the superdelegates, he lost. He's got several million less votes, and he's got.
Do you remember why we established superdelegates? I mean, that comes after the McGovern.
Yes, I mean.
Now, why did we? I was a delegate to that convention at Kansas City, I think. Why did we do that?
Well, to
to
prevent an outsider candidate from winning, so you had a quarter of the convention establishment organization people. So it was a ballast. It was stabilizing.
It came as a result of the great McGovern defeat.
Of the Fraser-McGovern rules changes.
Right. All right, so we've talked a lot now about the federal government. You have anything else to say about the federals?
No.
Okay.
We can move on to other things.
You know what amazes me is, I mean, we do have ethics questions about members of the Congress. And of course, we always have the lobbyists and the money and all of this. But you don't see as many prosecutions or anything as you see, for instance, let's go to the state. I mean, what do you think about that? Sheldon Silver? And what are we talking?
It is absolutely astounding. You have the two chief executives of the state, Governor Cuomo and Bill de Blasio. Either they directly or indirectly are under investigation by the U.S. Attorney. The two legislative leaders and their predecessors are in jail. How many assemblymen and state senators? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mississippi can give us a fight for most corrupt. New Jersey could give us a fight. Illinois. But man, it's corrupt.
Where are the people? Where is the indignation? It's cataclysmic. What are we doing?
I don't know. The legislature refuses to act on anything meaningful in terms of ethics reform, and it's primarily the Republicans in the Senate.
And election reform.
Yeah, and. One possibility is that if the Republicans lose control of the Senate, then you might have the capability of passing some of this legislation. But the Democrats are as bad as the Republicans.
I was going to say, I don't think there's that will.
Yeah, there's no will.
So this goes back, though, to why don't we have more people being developed for leadership roles? Why don't we see elected officials as leaders and demand more of them?
The nature of the process, it's really demeaning. Unless you're a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire at the minimum, you have to beg 80% of the time, and you're begging for money, and it's demeaning. So, I mean, it's just the rigor and nature of political campaigns that it's demoralizing. And it is a crapshoot on top of it. So, people who are risk averse don't want to do it. Or they stay at the state level and don't move into the federal level. Why would a young person
Well, because
get into it?
because they want to change the world. The same reason people like me got into it. I mean, you really believed you could change the system. You knew there were things that had to be done. So you run for office.
Yeah, but then you look out and you say, the environment isn't right. It ain't going to happen. So
it isn't going to happen unless you've got other people doing it with you.
But then there's the individual rationality versus, if you will, the collective rationality. If other people like me did it, then it would happen. But there's not enough incentive for me to do it. So I don't. So you don't do it. And he doesn't do it. So nobody does it.
And also, I think because, if you look at the press coverage, there isn't any coverage, basically, for individual people to be able to avail themselves of the system.
That's true. I mean, first of all, the news whole has decreased. The bureaus have decreased. So, papers are going out of business. And on that level, you have a consolidation that precludes that.
Well, years ago, you worked for Tony Olivieri.
Yep.
Right? He was a little later than when I started, but I was part of a movement, the reform movement.
Right.
Well, why don't
you won that one, but
we lost
the
it.
big.
We lost
the larger
Where are the
war.
rest of them?
No. It was.
Why don't these movements succeed? Why don't they keep going?
Well, I mean, they don't keep going for a variety of reasons. One is that they're partially successful. One is that the activists age out, and then you've got a new generation with new concerns and new values, and it just doesn't maintain itself.
Well, you teach political science.
Yes.
You also have this institute, is it still there, about leadership and
yes.
stuff? So what are you producing?
God, I hope to produce, and I think I do produce, critical thinkers, that they are able to develop an argument, understand an argument, rationally come to a conclusion, but also hopefully that they have good values without being on the soapbox. So you have to teach them to be critical thinkers and guide them to, guide them to understand the complexity of the world and to act ethically within it.
But not to participate in it. That's leadership.
Yeah, I know, but see, my students at Baruch are very career-oriented, and they're concerned about getting a job, moving on. Not all of them, by any means, but the majority of students are economics is crucial. It's personal. And
I guess it works both ways, because if you've decided to run for office, once you become a member of the city council or the assembly, it's now your choice of jobs. So
right.
in a way, you're being forced
right.
to stay in the system,
yes.
which is
yes.
what I'm complaining about
yes.
also.
Yes.
If you get term limit out of the city council, you then run for the assembly.
Oh, yeah.
You switch.
Right.
So we got the same people all the time.
Oh, no, you constantly, and then you have relatives, brothers, actually switching jobs. It's a crisis of the system.
It is. And it's really should develop some anger about it.
It's not. It's not.
So
you're depressed.
I am a little shocked. I am. And I'm dismayed because I don't think we're developing leadership that is going to show us any optimism about the future. I mean, it's a level of mediocrity. I also don't believe you can continually, and it's a big problem because I don't think you can continually stay in elective office forever. I think you lose touch.
Oh,
where do you go? You know,
right.
Maybe it should be like jury duty, that the employer,
right,
or something.
right,
The employer
right.
has to take you back.
Right.
We've coming to the end of this segment.
No.
So I think we should continue next week.
Yes.
All right?
Absolutely.
You promise.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Doug Muzio.
Thank you.
If there are any people you'd like to hear or topics you'd like us to explore, please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016. Or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you.